Howdy friendos, my name is Stuart and welcome to the part of the channel where we take a look at pop culture characters and determine what alignment they are in Dungeons & Dragons. Today we're doing our duty of search engine optimization and covering the hottest thing that happened on the internet right now. Oh, we're posting this a week after the series is over and therefore we're already too late and this will be meaningless? Well, sounds about right. Well, whatever. I've been wanting to dive into the MCU for a while, and this gives me the perfect opportunity to start. Fun fact, this whole alignment series was actually conceived with the idea of making episode 1, What D&D Alignment is Thanos, but I switched to Shrek at the last minute. So you could have gotten a What D&D Alignment is Thanos as an episode 1, but I think Shrek is better. By the time I fully understood what I wanted out of these videos, Endgame was done and we've pretty much moved on, so I felt Shrek was a bit more timeless. But I'll tell you what, if this video breaks, let's say 10,000 views and 1,000 likes, I'll start doing MCU characters. Tell me in the comments which characters you want next and we'll see where it goes. xthedarkone is actually editing this video this time around and he loves the MCU, so I'm sure he'd be down for doing more. Just tell me which ones you want. I'm sure X will put some little cheeky edit that he wants.
And nothing's gonna stand in my way.
But anyway, let's get to our alignments. The first character on our list is Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. Wanda was born in the fictional country of Sokovia, a small landlocked country in Eastern Europe. She was born to a poor family and grew up with her twin brother Pietro in a war-torn country. One day, her living room was bombarded with a missile, killing her parents instantly. We learned in the WandaVision series that Wanda was actually able to prevent the missile from exploding with some latent magic that she was born with. After this, the twins volunteered for experiments with Hydra and a man named Strucker in the hopes of getting back at Stark for taking their lives away. He was the weapons producer that made the missile after all. When she was presented with Loki's staff and by extension the Mind Stone, her already latent magical abilities became exponentially more powerful. Because Wanda's initial goal is revenge on Tony Stark for killing her family and she doesn't really care about anything else, especially considering she is basically working with a Nazi death cult, I actually think it's fair to say that we're going to start her alignment in the center of chaotic evil. Despite her sympathetic backstory, people tend to forget that she actually was a straight up villain at first. Vision, however, is a bit more interesting because he is a machine that was created as an amalgamation of several different sources. Vision was created in part by Tony Stark, and in part by Ultron. Tony, in the first phase of the MCU, had an AI support bot called Jarvis who assisted him pretty much with everything he did. Despite the fact that this was the most advanced AI in the world at the moment, it technically doesn't have an alignment because it was largely a protocol bot, kind of like C-3PO from Star Wars. However, in the movie Age of Ultron, Jarvis was destroyed by the said robot, put back together by Tony, and then shoved into another superbot. That's only part of him. Ultron himself also uploaded a ton of himself into the machine, and he was a pure chaotic evil magic robot. And then after that, they also added the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone in the MCU is a building block of the universe that helps hold reality together. So, you know, let's just throw that in there too. All in all, Vision is a well-meaning robot trying to understand his place in the universe. Despite being part Ultron, he's honestly one of the most selfless characters in the MCU. So let's just give him a heaping, helping serving of lawful good in there because, well, he's a machine and he's good. Plus, I kind of like the idea that Wanda and Vision started opposite sides of the alignment spectrum. But yeah, with that all the way, let's go. Wanda begins the movie by attacking Captain America and Tony Stark. She implants strange visions into his head that kick off the entirety of the movie. She did this for the express purpose of sowing distress into the Avengers. Again, she did this knowing full well that they saved the world, and this was for revenge. Chaotic evil. So, I don't care what anyone says, Joss Whedon has awesome title card drops. Nat 20 hype opening.
We're not at war, Captain.
They are.
This is why I say this movie is so underrated. While barely knowing anything about their backstory, Cap completely understands the position Wanda and Pietro are in and shows empathy and understanding towards an enemy. Something we could use more of today, Twitter.
No, it's much more than that.
Whosoever be he worthy shall have the power.
Nat 20 scene, I'm just gonna give it to it, come on.
You're wondering why you can't look inside my head.
Sometimes it's hard. But sooner or later, every man shows himself.
Ultron and the twins team up. Ultron's motivation is fairly irrelevant here, but he does speak sweet words into their ears, which eases their consciousness a bit, but they do try to conspire to destroy the Avengers, largely as revenge for what Tony's company did to them when they were young. Lawful evil.
I'm afraid. Not that afraid.
Everybody's afraid of something.
Cuttlefish.
Is shaking down a bad guy an evil act? I'd argue when you're doing it with the intention of seizing a massive weapons cache, yes, lawful evil. Wanda mind rapes nearly every Avengers with crazy visions. Part of this plan involves sending Hulk on a rampage that kills an untold number of people. Lawful evil.
How could you?
How could I what?
Wanda learns from the Cradle that Ultron plans on destroying the planet, so they betray him. I'd argue this is chaotic good. Saving civilians from the runaway train, though, is neutral good.
I know you're angry.
Oh, we're way past that. I could choke the life out of you and never change a shade.
The Maximoffs team up with Captain America to prevent the birth of the Superbot. They fail, but they were conflicting with the other heroes because they were afraid of what Stark was creating. I'd argue chaotic good. Once they realized that Ultron was the major threat, they then team up with the Avengers and the new Superbot. Lawful good. However, Wanda executing Ultron as revenge might be considered a chaotic neutral and subtle foreshadowing to her temper issues. So yeah, we're just gonna tack that on as well. Speaking of Vision, let's give him a few dings. Vision's first moments of birth are to assess the situation and say that Ultron must be stopped for the greater good. After defeating Ultron, he destroys the last of his clones, realizing that he is a threat to humanity. Lawful good, twice.
I apologize. I don't mean to intrude.
You don't?
Well, I suppose, yes, I did intend to come in here.
A year passes between the events of Age of Ultron and Civil War. Within that time, Wanda has kept her nose clean, has been following all the rules, and joined the Avengers to help people. 2 dings for lawful good.
But what is grief? If not love, persevering.
And hell, let's give Vision 1 as well. Okay, so a lot of the events of Civil War were kicked off because Wanda made a mistake in where she let Crossbones self-destruct. To her credit, she was trying to get it away from the hundreds of people in that area, including herself and Captain America. Unfortunately, she killed some people that were in a nearby building. I'd argue this is still lawful good despite her mistakes.
In my defense, I haven't actually ever eaten anything before, so...
So Wanda and Vision in this movie are sort of relegated to side characters. There is drama happening between them that is cute and effective, though. Stark has ordered that Vision keeps her in the compound in order to sort out the whole Cord fiasco. Vision complies and tries to keep her there as best he can and make her as comfortable as possible by making her food and trying to keep her as entertained as possible. Vision gets a lawful good here.
She can't.
Vision. That's enough. Let him go.
Once Clint shows up, however, to break her out, Wanda incapacitates Vision and they leave. She initially does it because she wants to save Clint, but then her motivation is her own personal freedom. So let's give her 1 for chaotic good for saving Clint and 1 for chaotic neutral. Vision gets a lawful neutral for sticking with the mainline Avengers, though.
Viz? Is it the stone again?
Sometime later, Wanda and Vision have officially leveled up their relationship and are now a full-on couple. This is known about by both sides of the Avengers. They make plans to run away together, but just before they can, they are interrupted by the plot of the movie. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Chaotic neutral on the both of them.
I have to go.
To Vision's credit, as soon as it was announced that aliens were attacking, he tried to head out and help, but was interrupted again by more plot. Lawful good.
Vision's stone.
Well, then we have to protect it.
No, we have to destroy it.
Vision volunteers immediately to destroy the Mind Stone and suggests that Wanda does it. She and the rest of the Avengers immediately refuse, but they do admittedly keep that play in their back pocket for later. Lawful good.
You're saying Vision isn't just the stone?
I'm saying that if we take out the stone, there's still a whole lot of Vision left.
Bruce does suggest that they could probably remove the stone and destroy it without harming Vision, and Captain America suggests heading to Wakanda and talking to Shuri. The battle on Earth is basically a stall tactic in order to remove the Mind Stone while protecting Wanda and Vision. Chaotic good.
Why was she up there all this time?
Wanda does break rank to go and save the others from the battle, which results in Vision and Shuri being ambushed by the skinny guy. Chaotic good. Neutral good for Vision when he gets off the operating table and protects Shuri. And heck, let's just give him another one for backing up Cap. And finally, for both Wanda and Vision, they sacrifice their happiness and lives respectively for the sake of the universe. Lawful good.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
You will.
While we're talking about Nat 20 scenes, however, Wanda getting her revenge is very satisfying, and almost everyone in the theater was so happy to see this, including me. However, Wanda here almost gives no shits about saving the world, and this is pure catharsis for her. I'm gonna argue chaotic good.
Don't worry. She's got help.
Right. Let's just give this a neutral good, I guess. Seriously, Captain Marvel and Wanda are the only factors here.
We won. We did it.
She knows. We both do.
I really love this scene. Wanda comforts Clint at the loss of Natasha, and he wishes that Nat could know that they had won and defeated Thanos. Wanda comforts him and says she knows, but you can tell by her face that she doesn't believe that. Endgame is just a Nat 20 movie, guys. I'm sorry.
One moment. I have to buzz you in.
I got it. Thanks.
After the events of Endgame, Wanda heads to the Sword facility and demands to bury Vision. Bad guy McPlot tells her no and implants the idea of bringing him back to life in her head. She then bursts into the autopsy area and peacefully leaves after saying goodbye. By the way, Nat 20 dialogue when she says, "I can't feel you." This is a really good callback. Afterwards, she heads to Westview and her grief kickstarts the event of WandaVision by building a reality marble. Yay! Chaotic neutral.
An anniversary then?
Yes! It's our anniversary!
This is not a criticism of the show. I'm just saying this because it's relevant to the topic of the video. The first 4 episodes of WandaVision are pretty much just Wanda futzing around her reality marble. Because she's basically in a state of PTSD, she doesn't exactly realize what she did, so she's just kinda having fun while trying to do good with people she imprisoned in town. She's actively rejecting outside interference, so I'm gonna count all this as chaotic neutral for now. And chaotic neutral twice.
Is this yours?
Wanda, as a show of force, orders Sword to stay away from the town. General Bad Guy points out reasonably that she has taken an entire town hostage and that she is wrong for keeping them, but Wanda doesn't care. Despite the fact that they tried to shoot a missile at her earlier, this is still chaotic evil, and Vision even points this out, even though at this point he's basically Wanda's subconscious memory of him. Chaotic evil.
How'd you even do all this?
At this point, Wanda is pretty aware of what she's doing and is refusing to stop and continues her sitcom fantasy for herself. This is pretty much the plot of episodes 6 and 7. She even extends the barrier, trapping more people inside. Chaotic evil twice. In this episode, Agnes and Wanda are pretty much just explaining the plot as Agnes reveals herself as bad guy number 2, Magic Boogaloo. I'm memeing really hard, but this is actually a Nat 20 episode.
Safe. Vision. I should have told you everything. The moment I realized what I...
Episode 9 wraps up most of the story and serves as Wanda's redemption episode. In it, Wanda defeats Agnes and frees the town from her psionic hold. She also makes up with Captain Rambo, so let's give her 2 chaotic goods since she basically imprisoned Agnes in a perma-enchantment until she's needed again. Kinda dark, but fitting. Chaotic good twice. Also, you may have noticed that I didn't give Vision any dings throughout the WandaVision, and that's because he's pretty much dead and he only exists in this reality as Wanda's memory. In the last episode, we learned that General Military Allegory turned Vision's corpse into a killing machine. Wanda's illusion Vision unlocked all of his old memories. He then flew off because he didn't know how to feel. So this white Vision is kind of the new Vision, sorta? And I'm not sure how to count this, but I'm sure we'll be seeing him in upcoming Marvel projects. So for now, chaotic neutral?
So long, darling.
So apparently there are some people who are unhappy about the ending of WandaVision, and I know I blasted through it very quickly, but essentially for the topic of alignment, there wasn't much to discuss there. But there are some interesting points. And from what I can tell, there are two camps of people who are unhappy about WandaVision. The camp that I feel actually has a point, and the camp that I feel are much less valid. Camp Invalid seems to think that Doctor Strange should have showed up, and the X-Men should have been there, and Mephisto, and all this comic shit needed to happen to make the finale worth it. Feel free to ignore these people, not because they're dumb, but I think they misunderstood the point of the miniseries. The other camp, the camp I feel has a good point, are those who were disappointed that WandaVision's very touching story about grief, trauma, and mourning kinda developed into a Dragon Ball Z After Effects heavy hero battle. And yeah, it's on brand for Marvel, but it's very frustrating when you really look at the themes of WandaVision and then you throw in sky lasers and CW Buffy the Vampire Slayer women's screaming matches. WandaVision is good, like scary good, because it's not a show about a magic lady doing cool magic things, but it's about a widow who has lost everything she's ever had, coming to terms with the fact that she has to move on again. Wanda lost her parents in a war that was totally outside her control. She gave up the best years of her life for revenge, only having her brother who understood her. Then, said brother is taken away from her as they were heading into a better life with the Avengers. And then, when she was grieving, she was then treated as an unstable weapon by her new family and was forced to pick between being treated as an object or personal freedom. Then, during Infinity War, she finally found a new person, and that person was not only taken away from her once, but twice with the Thanos bullshit. Wanda has been through the ringer, and when she wasn't even allowed to properly grieve for his loss, she finally snapped, starting that reality marble. And you know what's absolutely brilliant about this? The fact that she hurt other people in her grief. And that is the best part about WandaVision and the most brilliant aspect of this whole journey. When a person isn't allowed to mourn or grieve or give the time that they're needed to care for themselves, they aren't only hurting themselves, they often hurt others. Wanda initially didn't mean to turn the whole town into her psionic thralls, but once she figured out she could get away with it, she kept doing it because it made her pain go away. And for a while, that's because she didn't get the help that she needed. This show is brilliant commentary about how loss can affect everyone, not just those who it directly happens to. And then here comes not one, but two characters who are sort of moral Deus Ex Machinas to help distract people from the fact that Wanda did some pretty awful things. This is the only time I really felt that the Marvel formula actually hurt the story it was telling. You could absolutely remove the White Vision and Agnes subplots, and I think the show could have been a bit better for it, since both of these characters actively took away from the themes of this series. Otherwise, I think both Wanda and Vision are pretty excellent characters, even though they were not really given a lot of screen time at first. Vision serves as a good and steady influence that helps Wanda in the healing process from her shitty life. She's a good person deep down, but situations and conflict push her to evil action sometimes. This is just good stuff and good character moments. If you've seen my has-been video talking about the success of Hell of a Boss, you know that I like characters who do bad things for good reasons. Hell, not even good reasons, sometimes selfish reasons. That's the best stuff. Next week, I'm planning a special collab with a few other YouTubers, so please stick around for that. We're going to take a look at creating a Dragon Ball world for D&D, and then the week after that, we're going to take a look at the alignment of Vegeta, the Saiyan Prince. So I'll catch you guys next time, and thank you to the patrons.